Okay, I started filming before I finished chewing a piece of apple, or finishing an entire apple, which, you know, really good decision making. First, I miss hanging out with you too. I miss hanging out in general too. Apparently, relaxed, social, non-studio hangouts are not a thing I can do anymore. Your video last week was full of big topics, so I want to just get right to that. First is suicide. Suicide is something I'm close to being able to talk about, but I'm not quite ready yet, so I'm going to have to avoid that. But I can promise you that a lot of people have felt the way you're describing, and it is not abnormal at all. There is nothing wrong with you for thinking that way. And I actually do believe you when you say that you're not seriously thinking of killing yourself. The idea of escaping, I think, is way more prevalent in what you were describing than the idea of actual death, and I am really glad. I will talk more about that in a future video, probably. Moving on to point number 2. How poetry is judged. How poetry is judged. I think in a lot of ways, poetry and the visual arts are judged in the same way, which is very much different than the way other fields of study are judged. That is, the more universally understandable they are, the more desired they are. The more they reach with simplicity and ease to the core of the human condition, the better they are. That is so different than most other fields of studies. Other fields of studies, the more complicated and difficult to understand, the more, important they are, which is kind of fucked up. But anyway, so the more universal and the more understandable they are, the better. It is funny that in a field that is entirely self-expression, there's still some sort of way of judging things, but there is something to be said about the comparative difference between a poem by somebody who knows what they're doing and the rhyming couplets of a sad 13-year-old. I'm not saying one is better than the other. The adolescent poem is probably the best poem ever written about being that particular 13-year-old. But how does it read to the rest of the world? It is a hard question. And one, as you know, we as visual artists have to deal with on a regular basis. How do we make work that is good? And what is good work? If you're looking for good love poems, Edna St. Vincent Millay. She is one of my all-time favorite poets, especially in the context of love, and holy shit, so good. So next time you're in a used bookstore looking for poems, Edna St. Vincent Millay. What does it mean to be special to someone? I have no fucking clue. I also don't know if that's the right question, and I think the one that you were trying to ask, maybe, was what does it mean for someone to be special to you? And I don't really know that either. I feel like there are hundreds of people in my life who are special to me for different reasons, and I think special might be the wrong word too. I don't know. It's a hard question. Next. Do we know what love means? Honestly, we are two 22-year-old girls. Probably not. Also, we've talked about this before, but I am not someone to base a healthy relationship on emotions from. I don't tell people I love them because I live in constant fear they will never love me back. I live in fear of the emptiness in those words, and I don't want to give anybody the opportunity to lie to me. I don't use those words sparsely out of any sort of wisdom. I don't use them often because I'm afraid, so do not think that I have any fucking clue what's going on with that. I am not someone to base healthy emotional things off of, I promise you. I think that loving freely, letting yourself care about someone, anyone, in the myriad of ways there are to love someone, is probably one of the best things anyone can do. That is the brave and smart and wise way to go about life. My desperate clutching at words is stupid and shallow and desperate. You are so much better at loving, not just saying it, I think. It can mean whatever you want it to mean. If you say to a friend, I love you, it could really just be I really like hanging out with you. Or if you're saying it to somebody you feel romantically inclined towards, that could also mean something fully different. I don't think that it's a word or an expression that should really be shied away from. I think that in the world there needs to be more love, and I'm starting to sound like a hippie, but everybody is lonely in one way or another, and everybody wants to feel appreciated, and everybody wants to know other humans care about them. It's not that complicated, and saying it in a way that you might think is too frequent, I don't think is actually a problem at all. But that's just my opinion. I wish it was easier for me to say that I loved people. I can barely say that I love my family. I don't think I've even told my mother I love her in a while. I can't. Something is wrong. I wish I could just tell the people I care about that I love them, but I can't. Yeah, I'm still eating an apple during this. Even if the words are losing their meaning as a culture, they don't have to lose their meaning individually. I don't think. And I think that's the end of this video. Okay. Bye, Paige. I'm glad your computer is working again, and I will see you on Monday.